Hello everyone, welcome to Talking Health with Dr. Laz, your favorite health program on television, reaching you from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. My name is Dr. Laz Eze. Yes, on the program today we'll be talking about adolescent health. Adolescence period is one that is very important in the development of all of us, everybody, because it's that period that a number of changes take place in the body, both in the body anatomy, the body functions, or the physiology, as well as even the psychosocial aspect of our well-being. And this is a period that we must ensure that every adolescent is in a complete state of physical, mental, and social well-being, especially in the area of their sexuality and reproductive health. The World Health Organization has copious provisions on what countries need to do and recommendations as well in relation to adolescent health. And of course, countries like Nigeria, Zimbabwe, and in the entire sub-Saharan Africa, are also paying attention to this, but perhaps not as much attention as desirable. If you look at the numbers in terms of teenage pregnancy, in terms of the age at first sexual intercourse, in terms of availability of information, access to contraception, some of the issues may be considered controversial in highly conservative society like ours. But the reality is there are issues that we cannot shy away from. So I have two guests, one from Nigeria, one from Zimbabwe, who will be joining me via Zoom, who have been advocates and doing a lot of work and research in this area. That will be my guest on this program. And as they usually say, young people, nothing about us without us. So they've been active persons from the adolescence age, and they have a lot of insight to share in this regard. Well, I'm going to be introducing them after the break, but if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, is on our screen, please do so and watch as many of our previous episodes as you deem fit. They are all free of charge, and also feel free to follow us on our social media handles and ask questions if you have anyone. Yes, with me on the program today is Agnes Ochanya Edo. She's an undergraduate at the Ahmadu Bello University and also a strong advocate on adolescent health issues, as well as youth sexual reproductive health and rights. You're welcome to the program, Ochanya.
Thank you. It's nice being here.
All right. I also have joining me via Zoom Mr. Yemurai Nyoni from Zimbabwe. He's a researcher in sexual reproductive health and rights. He's also a musician, and he does so many things in promoting youth sexual reproductive health and rights, as well as adolescent health. You're welcome to the program, Yemurai.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to join you both today.
Thank you very much. Good to see you again.
Yes, long time no see.
All right, so I'm glad you're able to make our time to join the program today. So let me start with you, Mr. Nyoni. What is the situation like in Zimbabwe when it comes to access to information on adolescent health for adolescents themselves? Are you practicing comprehensive sexuality education about access to reproductive health services and promotion of reproductive rights of adolescents?
Thank you very much. Yes, so I'll share a few insights on an overview of what is happening in the Zimbabwean context. First of all, of course, yes, we do have comprehensive sexuality education being provided in schools, both primary and secondary schools, as well as some work with tertiary institutions, which include universities, vocational training centers, teacher training colleges, etc., to prepare the workforce to also be able to engage on issues of sexual and reproductive health and rights. This work has been going on for over 2 decades now. And actually, as of last year, comprehensive sexuality education, or CSE in short, was now an examinable subject in schools. So the purpose of this, of course, as you might know, is to increase the level of knowledge amongst adolescents and young people, particularly HIV prevention knowledge, but in addition to that, knowledge around sexual and reproductive health as a whole. We know that health, of course, is not just the absence of disease, but we have a whole range of information services required so that an adolescent or young person can enjoy the fullest extent of their health and well-being. So regardless of there being comprehensive sexuality education, young people still do face challenges in receiving the information that they need. Part of that is because of some of the norms we have, taboos, issues that we are afraid to discuss. So young people in schools complain sometimes that their teachers don't teach them everything. They pick some of the topics that are good or the topics that are fit within the norms, but they stay away from some topics, for example, around condom use, so young people can understand how to prevent pregnancy and prevent STIs and other infections. Also, young people have said that some of the content is outdated, so that to say that they are not receiving as much information as they need to cope with the demands of the world today. We live in a world of TikTok, Instagram. There's so much going on online. We have human trafficking, sex trafficking. We have, different aspects around sexuality, including sexual identities, that young people have encouraged the curriculum developers to include. Lastly, also, young people have encouraged the ministries of education and so forth to diversify the channels that they use to share information with them, particularly the encouragement to use digital platforms, as well as to use platforms outside of school settings where young people frequent or spend most of their time. So some countries, Zimbabwe included, have begun to roll out parent-child communication programs so that whatever information is provided within the school setting, parents themselves are also empowered to provide similar information within the home setting. The point of this being to, first of all, break the barrier of communication between parents and their children, because as we know, teachers act in loco parentis. They act on behalf of parents when they teach comprehensive sexuality education, but it's even better when the parents themselves teach and speak from the same blueprint. So those are some of the advances that we've experienced in the country. The rates of HIV knowledge are high relatively compared to other countries within the region, but also within the East and Southern Africa region where a lot of my work is done. There's been, it should be a 30% increase in knowledge levels from 2013 to 2019, which is a reflection of the progress that has been taking place within the space. So that's what I can say for now. I have a few more insights, but I'll wait to get more questions so I can share more on what's happening in the country.
Right. Thank you very much. I'm really happy with the progress that has been made, particularly the comprehensive sexuality education thing, because I recall at the ICPD Plus 20 in 2014, I was there and I was in the negotiation room. And it was a very controversial topic with many countries, especially those in sub-Saharan Africa, being among those that opposed to making comprehensive sexuality education due to the taboos and other factors, religion and all of that you made reference to. So I'll come back to you, but let me come to the studio. Ochanya, there is comprehensive sexuality education in Zimbabwe, as Yemira just mentioned. Do we have that in Nigeria yet?
Okay, I won't say that there is comprehensive sexuality health education in Nigeria because we have been advocating for teachers to induce the comprehensive sexuality health education in secondary schools though there are topics in schools that are part of the should I say school schemes, yeah, in
like
secondary
the family
schools
life and health
and health
education.
education, yes. But like Yumura has said, there are certain topics that are being neglected, and most of these teachers, because sometimes in Nigeria, the teachers you see, some of them are not really they are not really focused on that particular subject. You have a teacher having taking different topics, so
Right.
sometimes some of this information that needs to be taught to students are being left out because of the teacher's perspective, to say, okay, the norm, the sociocultural norm has said it that this is right and that is wrong. So
Right.
because of their personal feelings, they tend to leave out a lot of things that can actually meaningfully impact these young persons. And that is why sometimes also outside schools, you get to find out that even if a student should ask certain questions within the topics that are being taught, you see there are not much response to such students. Why? Because, oh, your age, you are
Because
still
of
a
the
minor.
bias.
Yes, you are still a minor. You are not supposed to be thinking of this. You are not supposed to be talking about these issues. Meanwhile, those are issues that are really, really affecting young persons and them, adolescents rather, and them speaking up and not getting a response will make them ask questions or seek help from their peers, who may not necessarily have the right information to give out to them.
Okay, yes. So both of you have identified the bias by teachers, as you know, even though there are policies like in Nigeria, the family life and health education, that's, you know, kind of, you are not expected to talk about the option of use of contraception for sex. Abstinence only, you know, is the only content there. So but the comprehensive sexuality education includes everything that young people should know. And like Yemurai said, Zimbabwe started implementation, but even at that, there is still this bias that is experienced. So we are going to take a break. And when we return, I'll have my guests speak to some of these issues that young people should know about, especially parents and adolescents, issues around knowledge on HIV, teenage pregnancy, menstruation, and all other social issues and health issues that are very important for adolescents. Do stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Talking Here with Dr. Laz, your favorite health program on television. Yes, we've been talking about adolescent health and what we need to do to ensure that young people, especially adolescents, have the complete and maximum state of physical, social, and psychological well-being, and have access to information and services that will ensure that they grow, with optimal health. And I have two guests in the studio, one via Zoom from Bulawayo in Zimbabwe, and also an advocate here in Nigeria. And we've been talking on the situation about adolescent health in the sub-region. So I'm coming back to you, Mr. Yemurai Nyoni, a researcher and programmer in adolescent health, youth sexual reproductive health and rights, and who recently also got active in the entertainment industry. It was, for some of us that knew him, it was a pleasant surprise. But I'm sure he will use those skills to keep promoting adolescent health. So, Yemurai, with the situation now, what are those things that we need to be doing? I'm happy that you talked about the involvement of parents in Zimbabwe. How well has this gone? How can you speak to issue of marriage? Is child or early marriage a major issue of concern in your country? And what strategies or what specifically can we do to make better progress than we've done in the recent past?
Thank you for that. And yes, no worries about the switch up to music. All I do is take off these glasses and put shades on, and then it's It's
Yeah.
entertainment time. So, but to your question, I'll start off with the last thing you asked about child marriage. So in Zimbabwe, still our rate is about 1 in 3 girls get married before the age of 18. And those who may be aware will understand that that has negative implications and for adolescent girls to experience negative or harmful complications, particularly because normally that then leads to pregnancy, which increases the risk of maternal mortality and other complications during childbirth. It also leaves adolescent girls vulnerable to gender-based violence. It almost always certainly disrupts their education and affects their prospects or opportunities for economic empowerment in future. And it undoes a lot of the work that has been done over the years on girls' education, on economic empowerment, on gender equality as a whole. So if we have any desire to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, we need to continue to work to address child marriage. So in the country, one of the solutions that have been advanced is legal changes. So in Zimbabwe now, it is illegal to marry a child below the age of 18. The country has gone forward to also make it illegal to have sex below the age of 18. So what that is doing essentially is to address the vulnerabilities that exist below the age of 18 to make sure that able to complete their education, to also make sure that offenders, people who perpetrate child marriage, are held to book legally. But in addition to that, there are other challenges that adolescents, particularly adolescent girls, face. And I will come back to the value of comprehensive sexuality education and its power to first of all, equip the current generation of adolescents and young people, but also to engage and empower adults as well, to be as duty bearers to support young people's journey to adulthood and make sure that that transition is safe. We need to remember that sexuality education, comprehensive sexuality education, is appropriate to the development stage of the young person. And it works to make sure that young people can grow up in a safe environment and that they can develop well physically, and that they have the information, the skills, and are able to take up positive values that allow them to be productive members of society. Also, at the center of that is ensuring that they achieve their sexual and reproductive health and rights. So there are many issues that are addressed within comprehensive sexuality education, which include menstrual health management. It includes supporting and engaging boys to protect the rights of girls and women. So we prevent gender-based violence, intimate partner violence, which then occur later in adulthood. It also includes, within the school setting, we incorporate other health components, which include, issues of water, sanitation, good hygiene. So we prevent, spread of cholera, typhoid, and other types of diseases. It's also a good entry point in terms of positive citizenship, in terms of helping young people understand their role in society, in terms of respecting human rights, gender equality, respecting diversity. It also now, includes issues such as climate change, includes issues such as economic empowerment. So essentially to equip the young person to be productive in society and be protected as well, and learn all they need to know before they become adults. So without education, without that skills development, it will be difficult. But lastly, also, it's important to make the linkage to services. So in Zimbabwe, for example, there are referrals to health services from schools. So if a young person comes to, and during a session, surfaces that maybe they need access to a certain health service, maybe they need to get tested for an STI, or that they need to get access to counseling services. Maybe there's gender-based violence occurring. those referrals are provided within a school setup. And more is being done to make that a lot stronger. So young people have more opportunities to reach out to get health services after they've been given the information that they need. Ultimately, I encourage the parents who are watching the program, first of all, to take time to talk to their children, to any young people in their midst, and find out what challenges they are facing, in the world. Things have changed, and there's a lot that can be addressed just by opening the lines of communication. Second, also to support young people to make informed choices concerning their future. So the more information we give them, the more trust we should also place in their hands to trust that they will make the right decisions. Let's also support the teachers that deliver this comprehensive sexuality education to our children. Let's ask them, are you teaching my children about this? Are you engaging them? Are you talking to them? Are you being frank? Are you being honest? Let's also motivate the teachers to go as far as they need to go to make sure that our young people are equipped. So that's all I can say for now.
All right, that's a lot. You've gone ahead to make very valid recommendations that affects parents, teachers, and of course the rest of us. I'll come back to you for your last words. Back to the studio, Ochanya Edor. In Nigeria, there's Child Rights Act, and expected to be domesticated by all the states, and of course it made provision for the age of marriage and all of that, but not all the states yet have been able to domesticate that. You heard what he said around the roles of various persons. So what could you add to that using our local context and also your experience? You started your advocacy as an adolescent, right?
Yes, I
Of
did.
course. Are you still an adolescent? Okay, so what are those things, using our local context, especially for girls like you? What should be the things, listening and all of that? Let's hear from you.
Okay, so the first thing I would say, like you've mentioned before, that the Child Rights Act has not been domesticated in all states, right? So I would really want other young voices to advocate for the Child Rights Act to be domesticated in all states in Nigeria. So because
some may argue that those that domesticated it are not even implementing
it, yes. So for domesticating it first and then the implementation, because one of the issues we face in Nigeria when it comes to adolescent health, there was a time we were advocating for the reduction of the age of consent under a project that was later changed to the age of access to 14 in assessing SRH services. So, but it wasn't really, I won't say it was really accepted, but during the policy, NACA has actually accepted it for young persons age 14 to access HIV services that comes with counseling and testing.
Okay, so what's the current age now?
14.
I mean, accessing those services, you wanted it to be reduced to 14.
14, yes, but just only a part of it. We wanted all adolescents age 14 to be able to receive all information and services that concern sexual reproductive health rights.
Right. Okay. Yes. At the moment, what's the age that you want to be reduced? Is it 18?
No, I want it to go down even below 14.
Okay, from where to 14? Is it from 20 to 14 or 18 to 14?
Okay, from 18 to, let me say 12. Because young persons even below the age of 12 are already exposed to certain issues that concerns their sexual reproductive health. So if they are able to receive services and information that concerns their sexual reproductive health rights, they'll be able to make informed decisions about their health and well-being. Then also, one of the issues that are being faced by young persons in Nigeria is the female genital mutilation, which is an unlawful act per se, because it causes a lot of harm to the female genitalia, and the result of cutting young persons is not at that stage but later because you see a lot of their mental health are being devastated and all that.
Yeah.
So I would really encourage that young person should speak up, and then let there be youth-friendly services and centers across Nigeria, because we have them, but they are very, very few.
Minimal,
yes.
yeah.
So let there be more creation of youth-friendly centers, so that young persons can go and receive information that concerns their health themselves. Then for the teachers, I would advise that teachers are being trained for them to learn, to unlearn certain sociocultural norms. Because of that perspective on should I say the rules at which the society, the perceived norms the society has given, let them learn
not to impose their
not
wishes
to
on young
impose
people,
their
right?
wishes on young persons, and let government also have a means of prioritizing adolescents and young persons' needs, because their needs is diverse.
Enormous,
and
right.
When we are focusing on certain issues of young persons, especially the sexual reproductive health rights, we should have a way of linking it up to their mental health. Because when you see some harmful practices that are being done by young persons, is as a result of their mental health issues at that moment. You see, they go into drugs, they go into...
I'm sorry, I really have to stop you. You have a whole lot of information to share, but our time is really fast spent. Mr. Iburai Noni from Bulawayo in Zimbabwe. I know you also have a lot to say, but I think we've been able to use the time well in examining the issues and also having to get recommendations for both of you. What we get from what you said is there is need for more attention. There's been some progress in the recent past, and there is need for more investment. And I heard you say that we need to listen more to young people, not the older ones imposing their and their, what they feel they need, but also listening to them and working through them to provide those things they need. Thank you for joining the program, Mr. Nyoni, and also in the studio, Agnes Ochanya Edo. Thank you for being on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So, and to viewers, I really want to thank you. For adolescents, there are so many issues. Even when we come to the health issue, there are issues of drug abuse, there are issues of road traffic accidents, These are also issues that affect adolescents. But today we kind of focus more on sexual reproductive health and rights related issues. So for young people, let's listen more. Parents, also you are their first teacher. Let the teaching begin at home. And teachers, let's do what we need to do. That's all we can take today on the program. My name is Dr. Lars Eze. See you same station, same time next week. Bye for now.